Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Lord willing, every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, you can join us and subscribe. That way you'll receive it and you'll be able to watch it or listen to it at your convenience. I know you're busy and I'm busy. And so do that. Ministry Moments, YouTube, Bob Gray Sr., subscribe, or to your favorite podcast provider, you can subscribe there, or go to solvechurchproblems.com. And we're trying to get that website updated. And I think there'll be some interesting things in there that might be a blessing to you. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and we'll be with you every week. Very brief, not a sermon, but practical, hopefully practical things that'll be a blessing to you. I'm in my 51st year of ministry. I've been saved 66 years. It's great. I've been married. We'll be 58 years in June. And we have 4 children, 2 boys are pastors, and the 2 girls want to pastor, but we won't let them. And we got 10 children, 13 grandchildren, a 14th on the way. And so we're really thrilled about that. So get your pen out, get your paper. I want to talk to you about how to treat retreat. How to treat retreat. How to treat retreat. It's going to happen. There's going to have some times when you're going to have a setback that's going to cause you to reflect. And so let me give you some thoughts about it. Number one, retreating is not the same as quitting. Retreating is not the same as quitting. It's not the same. And every once in a while, you need to sit back and, there's a reason why God told us to meditate. There's a reason for that. We've got to get alone, and that's part of our problem. I spend 2 hours every morning alone with the Lord, and I don't want anybody around me. I don't want audio, music, TV. I don't want anything. It's just quiet, and read my Bible and let God speak to me. I want God to speak to me before I speak to him. The name Lord means boss. When I worked at General Motors as an accountant, I would go in and see Paul Domke, my boss, and sit down, and then he would talk to me, and then I would talk to him. I wouldn't talk to him first. He was the boss. I want the Lord to talk to me. So let me start by saying that retreating is not the same as quitting. Number 2, when you walk away from the fight, that's quitting. When you pack up your tools and walk away, so that's it. I'm not going to pastor again. I'm not going to preach again. I'm not going to teach Sunday school again. I'm not going to be a bus director again. I'm not going to do any of that. When you quit and walk away from the fight, that's quitting. That's not retreating. That's not retreating. We had 2 major conferences every year at Longview Baptist Temple. And the truth is, we spent 1 year on each, working on brainstorming, working on them, and do it in such a way that we learned from our mistakes from the previous year. Always learning. All right, we're talking about how to treat retreat. Number 1, it's not the same as quitting. Retreating is not the same as quitting. Number 2, when you walk away from the fight, that is quitting. Number 3, when you live to fight another day, that's retreating. When you live to fight another day, that's retreating. I know of a dear pastor who lost everything through a fire, lost his building, lost everything. And because he had to meet in the storefront, members started leaving him. Now, he didn't quit, but he retreated in a sense of sitting back and getting counseled and thinking about, how am I going to rebuild? What should I do to rebuild? Where should I rebuild? How should I rebuild? And all of that was necessary. Now, I say this because I want you to know that I wish I could tell you all days will be up days, and they're not going to be. The truth is, it goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down. And the lower the lows, then the higher the highs. So you'll have to go through that low period, but on your way back up, learn from it. So the next time something hits you, it's not quite as low as it was. When you live to fight another day, that is retreating. Number 1, retreating is not the same as quitting. It's not the same. Number 2, when you walk away from the fight, that's quitting. Don't walk away from the fight. Okay, you're bloodied. Okay, you got black eyes. You broke your arm. Spiritually, you've been beat up. Well, join the club. Just join the rest of us. This is an army, and this is not ROTC. This is the real army. So I said, number one, retreating is not the same as quitting. Number two, when you walk away from the fight, that's quitting. Number three, when you live to fight another day, that's retreating. Number four, don't miss this. Vital statistics, vital stats are the secret of knowing what to do. Vital stats are the secret of knowing what to do. For example, I did a car count every week. I did a man count every week. Now, when the offerings are down, first thing I do is the man count down? Is the car count down? Because now I understand how I need to approach this. Now, suppose the car count's up, suppose the man count's up, and the offerings are down. Oh, well, the first picture scenario, big word on it, is I've got to go internally to the office and say, okay, we got to cut back now. We can't use as many paper clips. We got to cut back inside because the car count is down, man count's down. So that explains why it's reflected in the offering. But suppose the car count's up, man count's up, and the offerings are down. Oh, now that's different. Now that's when I go to the pulpit and say, look, I don't know what you've been doing with your tithes and offering, but you bought a hound dog, sell it. You bought a bass boat, sell it. So my response to it and dealing with it has to do with the vital stats behind it. So I want to know if the man count is up or down. I want to know if the car count's up or down. I remember one year, oh my goodness, offerings were tremendous the year before. So we voted a new budget. In January, the bottom fell out with the new budget. And man, I panicked. I thought, what in the world? I checked everything. There was no reason for it. Man count was okay. Car count was fine. I couldn't understand it. So I went to people on Wednesday night and I said, we're $10,000 short of our budget. And we are not going into this next month $10,000 short. I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. I'm not going to knock on a door, try to tell somebody how to be saved when we owe them money. And they end up dying and going to hell because we didn't pay our bills. I'm not going to pastor a bunch of crooks. I'm just not going to do it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to raise that $10,000 tonight. And I don't want any IOUs. I don't want any post-dated checks. I don't want any of that. We're going to raise $10,000 tonight. We're not leaving here until we get it. We raised $20,000. What a blessing. And all of a sudden, then everything was just back to normal again. I guess it had to be Brother Roto-Rooter and unplug the lines. But I could, if the car count had been down and we'd had people walk out or people quit and man count was down, there would have been no reason for me to take it out on the people who are doing the best they can. But you see what I'm saying? I've got to be able to reflect. So number one, it's not how to treat retreat. Retreating is not the same as quitting. Number two, when you walk away from the fight, now that's quitting. Number three, when you live to fight another day, that's retreating. I remember in 1981, March, I came back from pastor school and our attendance went from 400 down to 159. I thought the world had come to an end. And they started church across town, which doesn't exist today. You can't start an anti-preacher church, expect God to bless it. In fact, it's part of the National Council of Churches, which denies the virgin birth of Christ. That's who owns those buildings now on Judson Road. I can show them to you. Next time you're in town, I'll take you there. But I was sitting there, it looked like the bottom had fallen out. But the thing I did was I said, I'm not running. I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. When I first came here, the rebel teenagers started singing a song, we're going to wash that gray right out of our hair. Brother Winters was in those early days, and they said, and it's going to be a long, cold winter. But anyway, there's times you had to sit back and contemplate, but I'm not running. I may retreat. I may think about what should I do from here on, but I'm not going to run. So how to treat retreat? Number one, it's not the same as quitting. Number two, when you walk away from a fight, that's quitting. Number three, when you live to fight another day, that's retreating. Number four, vital stats are the secret to determining what to do. Vital stats, you've got to keep good records. You've got to keep good records because it tells you everything. And don't stick your head in the sand either. Number 5, this will help you know how to fight. Let you know how to fight. You've got to have like I say, meditations of what God insisted that we be people who meditate, think, and think deeply. So retreating allows us to sit back and reflect to do better. Last point, pros and cons are a part of a winning strategy. Pros and cons are a part of a winning strategy. We would finish on the soul winning clinic. I'd meet immediately the following Friday with the people who were made up the clinic personnel, the leaders. And first thing we would do is write pros and cons, what worked and what didn't work. And for 29 years, for 3 decades, we had the soul winning clinic, and it got better every year. I believe it was because we thought things through and came up with the pros and cons. We did that with we had 2 Bible conferences a year, and we did that with those. We did it with our campaigns, our Sunday school campaigns, what worked and what didn't work. And so because of that, there has to be that moment of retreat, not quitting, not walking away. But when you sit back and reflect and you think about what worked and what didn't work, and oh my goodness, it's a blessing because you're building, you're not substituting, you're supplementing things that have worked. Our soul winning clinic it wasn't a substitute for pastor school, it was a supplement. So pastor school, and we just added to it, wanted to. And Brother House said that to me. He said, you did a good job of taking the clinic and supplementing what's going on in Hammond, the pastor school. And it was good to hear from the preacher. Now, how to retreat. There's going to come times you're going to have a split. You're going to have a fire. You're going to have lawsuits. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if there'll be an attorney in heaven, but a lawsuit. And there's just times where you got to sit back. Don't quit. Don't walk away, but sit back and do the pros and the cons. Retreat. Think about it. And then go back at it again. A little smarter than you were the first time. How to retreat. I hope it helped you. Join us every Friday, 3:00 Central Time for Ministry Moments. Not long, not a sermon, just trying to help you and create and give some thoughts based on experience. God bless you. Guess what? Tomorrow's soul winning. That's preparation day for the Lord's Day. And win souls, get people saved, line them up for church. And by the way, church starts when Sunday school starts on Sunday. God bless you. Have a great weekend.